Department of Public Works meeting together. Everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Come on right up, Chris. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Chris. Okay, everybody's got the report of Chris, which looks like to me there's no report on highway, buildings and grounds, jail, public safety, or solid waste. Did you have anything to add for that? Did they not come in? Judy didn't. Oh, okay. I have it here. Yeah, would you please? Because we can go on to... No, I'll find out what happened. Yeah, get to the bottom of it. I will. Well, we're waiting for Judy to come back with the reports. Does anybody have any questions for Chris on anything else? Okay. While you're up here, Chris, we do have the fairgrounds. You're looking for a resolution authorizing the Ragnar events to rent the Essex County Fairgrounds and the Essex County Government Center parking lot as staging areas for the Ragnar race, September 25th, 26th, 2015. And further, you authorizing to utilize county roads, Alexandria Drive Avenue in Ticonderoga, Stowersville, and Lewis, and the River Road in North Alba. Moved by Mr. Connell, second by Mr. Gardner. Any discussion on that? Any comments, Chris, on that? Yes, Mr. Irby.
I would just add that participants in the race, before the race, it was emphasized that their water bottles and anything that they drink, they need to go back and pick them up after the race or don't dispose of them. I don't know how many of you received an email this weekend as a result of the Dr. Lopez race that went down, well, actually it came from Keene, but the constituent that sent the email out was from Russia. She had a bunch of bags of water bottles and items that the runners and and also the folks there just watching the race were just throwing in the ditches. And this is the 10th year in a row, I guess, this lady's collected garbage along the road. So just to emphasize the fact that, if they dispose of their items along the side of the road, that they need to go back and clean them up. That's all. I mean, it's a great organization, a good purpose, but they need to go back and clean up their mess.
Good point. Yep. Anybody else? Mr. Preston.
Just to further chime in, I actually contacted the Ragnar people after the race last year because we had the same problems. And when they passed through Wilmington, they had different their support groups that set up in different places. When they left, there was garbage all over the ground. So I made it pretty clear to the event organizers that if this happens again, they won't get approval to go through Wilmington.
Right. Anybody else? Mr. Douglas?
I just have something on, you asked me to check last week regarding the state budget, and this is, Judy's putting a memo out today. Basically, the money that's included in the state budget, just to explain, there's $25 million in the state budget for blighted properties. These are applications that are going to be through the Empire State Development Corporation. These applications are not yet out, but as soon as they are released, Jeff Farrell from the governor's office is going to get them to Mike. And if you have blighted properties, it started at $50 million, ended up at $25 million. So start doing an inventory on your blighted properties. Mike will submit applications. Second thing on that, there's $50 million. There was some misconception about the $50 million in the state budget for extreme winter recovery funds. These are going to be spread equally amongst municipalities through the CHIPS formula. So it's not going to be for freeze-ups of water and sewer lines and those sort of things. It was extreme hardships for counties, towns that had road culvert damages. So above and even though CHIPS funding had a larger allotment this year, this is on top of that. So it's going to be shared by municipalities for harsh winter. So it's going to be within that formula, above and beyond the CHIPS formula. The third item is the $200 million where that got misconstrued for water and sewer. There's $200 million of EFC money for water and sewer infrastructure repairs, but not due to the harsh winters. It's rebuilds, new construction of water and sewer. That's what the $200 million is for. There's a push by Senator Schumer and Governor Cuomo to make most of this grant money. The Senator did bring it to our attention when we were in Washington that still, even though EFC put the federal government allots all this money, he wants most of it being used as grant money instead of, grant money instead of loans. So they're pushing that through at EFC to do that. But there's $200 million there for water and sewer infrastructure improvements. The $50 million is going to be distributed evenly through a formula similar to CHIPS, above CHIPS funding, and the $25 million is for the blighted properties. So it is not to do because the federal government did not declare a federal emergency declaration of all the water and sewer freeze-ups that we all face. They're just, the numbers aren't there yet, even though we submitted everything. The numbers aren't there yet for the governor to get the approval from the president for a federal declaration. But Judy will put this memo out to you, and as soon as we have these applications, Mike will be reaching out to you and working with you on this. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Douglas.
You're welcome.
Now, we'll go back to the resolution we have in the...
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine. I didn't forget. I wrote this up in my...
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt like that.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. That's what we're here for. Any questions on the resolution that we had on the floor approving the Ragnar races? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carries.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Resolution carries. Now, you've all got a copy in front of you of Chris's report. Give me a minute to read the highway. If you have any questions on the highway after you read it? No resolutions needed. Any questions on the highway? Anything extra to add to that?
No.
No? We'll go to buildings and grounds on the next page. Any questions on the buildings and grounds? Mr. Darnell?
On the cupola and the remainder of the roof up front, this up here, is that something we're going to do this year?
Yes. Yes. That's scheduled for the second year, yeah. Yeah, that's scheduled in the budget for this year.
Any other questions? Okay. Next is the janitors. Mr. Manette?
I should have mentioned on buildings grounds, but I mentioned Dan last week, if we could get those stumps round out in the front yard.
The stumps. Stumps out here? Okay.
Yep. Anything on the janitors? Okay. Jail public safety bill. Any questions on the jail and public safety for this? I just have one comment. I was talking to the sheriff the other day, and the person we promoted to the lead maintenance person, Jet,
Yes.
he is doing an excellent job, according to the sheriff. He's really working above and beyond the call of duty. He's doing a good job. I want everybody to know that. Okay, any other questions or anything? Okay. What else do we have? Health and safety and codes. Any questions for Chris on the health and safety or codes? Okay, you have anything next, Chris?
I just had one thing you guys, to put together the list of all the properties in Essex County, I thought I was doing something with that, so is that something you still want me to do?
The ones that the county owns, we should get a list together. The
put
ones from
something
the
together
town,
for you?
the town should get them together to get to you. Or any of the ones that are on the foreclosure list that the county has potential to take an ownership to should be on a list that's brought forward too.
Okay.
So I would say the county-owned properties now,
Do you want me to communicate with the towns as well, though, and get a master list together? That's where I was headed.
I don't think you need to do, what do you think, Dan?
I think you just sent out a notice to the towns asking that they forward the information to your
Okay.
office, and maybe Wendy could coordinate it from there.
Okay.
Anything else for Chris while he's up here? Okay, thank you, Chris.
I just got one thing, Jerry, if I may.
Yep.
Chris, Judy and Joe Provencher are working on a Memorial Day service for the Tuesday after Memorial Day, so if you can reach out to Judy and Joe and see what needs to be done out on the lawn so it's looking spiffy that day. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Chris. If there's nothing else for you, thank you. Soil and water, Dave Reckon? Come on up. We've all got Dave's report.
Thanks, Dave.
Morning, Dave.
I do have a report that was submitted. The biggest thing I just want to highlight in the report that I did discuss in here that you will be getting invitations here soon. June 18th, we will have a 50th anniversary for the Essex County Soil and Water Conservation District. It was organized on June 6th, 1965, and so we're just going to have a little open house and celebration at Floral Hall on the fairgrounds. The board of directors will meet at 5 o'clock in our normal office there at the conference room in the Cornell Cooperative Extension Building. And then at 6 o'clock, we'll have a little slideshow and an open house of some of the things that the district's done. We've actually been able to take a lot of the old slides that were taken back at least 20, 30 years ago and put them onto a thing that we can run it onto a computer slideshow. So hopefully we can see some of the old things and you can see what's going on now. So you all get an invitation to that. If there's any other questions on anything up to, I do have a couple things on the forestry, but if on anything else on the report, if you have any questions.
Actually, let's go back to the 50th anniversary of Soil and Water. Would somebody like to move a resolution in congratulations to Soil and Water for their 50th anniversary by Mr. Connell? Second. Unanimous second? Thank you. Carries. Okay, Dave.
All right, any other questions on anything else on the report? If not,
Harrington?
yes.
Not involving the report, but Monitor Bay has some severe concerns with invasive weeds, and I'm wondering if you can provide us with any support down the road, especially this year, if at all possible.
I can. At this point, we've done more with cooperating with. The one thing about Essex County is that we do have the invasive species organization there with the Nature Conservancy in Keene Valley. I can certainly work together with them to try to get information over. I know they met with the Bocat River Association annual meeting. They talked about they have these strike force teams to get out, and so certainly we can work together with them on making recommendation on what needs to get done there to try to address some of those issues. You're welcome.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Dave.
Okay, the first thing on the forestry report, I guess other than the one thing I would want to comment on it is we have been making progress with boundary marking, and the other thing that we'll be doing here in the next week or so is the timber sale in Keene has been completed, and the logger that did the sale has contacted Linda, and he's interested in finding out what he needs to do to clean up the project area now that the ground is not frozen the way it was when they finished up, and to go in there and make it so it's back to original condition so that we can sign off and get him on the way with that timber sale. So we'll be working with that, finishing up the boundary markings. But in the meantime, there's a couple proposals I'd like to do. I hand you one, but first I'd like to take care of Laura Benedict, who's our conservation technician. She's working on a possible grant program. We talked about tree planting, and so she's worked on a little proposal to try to get some tree planting funds for the county.
And I may add, Laura has been working with Phil Sharkowski on the forestry product, timber sales and everything else. You gonna have Laura come up and explain it? Yeah.
Jerry, can I ask Dave a question while we're waiting?
Yep, go right ahead.
Can I get from you later a contact information on the forester? Just the name and phone number? That did Keene.
The one that did Keene?
Correct, yeah.
Atkins? Yes, I can. Yeah, Linda passed that on to me, so I can just forward that over to you.
Morning.
Morning, Laura.
So I've been working on putting together a grant to do a tree planting at the Keene Harvest site. Now that it's opened up a lot nicer, we'd like to try to get some hardwood species in there to kind of make it a little bit more valuable in the future. So I'm applying for $4,800 to plant 4,800 trees. All are going to be hardwoods, red oak, sugar maple, and black cherry. Since it's not my personal property, it's the county's property, I'd like approval to plant on the property. And then also, I'd like to see if we'd like to put any money into anything else while we're in there planting. The grant does want a sign. I was thinking maybe that would be a good place to put in some money for a sign. If there's any other ideas, I'd like to entertain that too.
Okay, first, the grant is $4,800 to plant the trees. There's no match for the county on that?
That's just for the grant.
You're right.
The grant does not require any match.
Okay, $4,800 takes care of the tree planting.
Right.
Let's do that one separate from the other.
Well, we will provide the tree planting.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
We're just authorizing you to plant on our property.
Yes, and to go ahead and approve the grant to plant the trees. Somebody want to move that? Moved by Mr. Moore. Do we have a second? Mr. Marnell. Discussion. I personally think it's a good idea because when you do a forest cut and a timber sale, you should replant. You know, so this is a win-win situation for the county. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carries. Now, the other part Laura was asking about, what, besides the sign, what are you talking about the county coming up with money?
Just if you wanted to put anything into it, I'd like to try to do a little site visit workshop to get some of the community members into the forest management site to talk about forest management, what we did there, why we cut this tree but left this tree, and try to get them to kind of understand a little bit where we're coming from, how it's benefiting not just the forest, but the watershed, the community itself, because now there's more trails in there. And then they would also help plant as well, kind of get a little bit of stewardship there. If we wanted to put money towards that to kind of draw more people in, offer maybe some snacks, different materials.
How much money are you talking about?
Not much at all. I haven't looked into that part yet,
I think we should, I don't know about the board, but I think we ought to hold off till you look into it.
Okay.
And also, the next thing coming up, might be some money there if you're successful with the board approving this, the committee approving this. So is that the census of the DPW committee, to hold off and wait and see what they come up with, and then come back with a more solid proposal?
Well, we have to find out if we have the grant first.
Yeah, that's why I haven't dealt
So
with it
this
too
might
much.
be a little bit premature, right?
Yeah, this
Okay.
wouldn't happen until next spring, 2016.
We got time on that. Is that all right with the committee? Okay. Do you want to explain the next, do you have anything else on that, Laura, or do you want to go on to the next one?
No, I believe that's it.
Okay, we'll go on to the next one. Essex County Timber Management Plan Proposal.
Okay, the next one is actually another one of my proposals. Okay, so we discussed moving forward, once we get done with the boundaries marking on the county forest land, would be to go ahead and try to update the forest management plan. I've been researching avenues to try to bring in additional funding to assist with that. In the past, there used to be funding through the Stewardship Incentives Program that came through the USDA and then went directly to the DEC. There still is funding along those lines. It continues to come through the USDA. It now comes directly through the USDA, and some of the rules have changed, and one of the rules is that the money cannot go directly to a municipality, but they do allow an agency to act as an agent for that municipality. I've worked together with, most of you know, Vic Putnam and myself have been involved with the Greater Adirondack RC&D Council, Resource Conservation and Development. That agency is an agency that the Essex County is a member of, and it works towards conservation of our natural resources, but looking towards good economic, sustainable development of those resources to try to bring some economic benefit to the community. So that organization fits to try to act as an agent to work together with the county to manage it. Then those funds could go to the Resource Conservation Development. It would make the county eligible for up to $12,000 in cost sharing towards developing the management plan, so that wouldn't have to come out of county resources. And then there's also timber stand improvement funds that once that plan is developed, if those plans show that there's a need for timber stand improvement in certain areas on a non-commercial basis, we could actually get cost share to try to assist with that. So this is a proposal. At this point, the Resource Conservation Development has a project measure. They have agreed on it that it's a high priority to assist Essex County in the management of these timber resources, and they've agreed to support this proposal. I'm bringing this up to the county to determine whether or not they're interested in doing this. I understand that the Soil and Water Conservation District would still, we would be the foresters that would actually develop the plan, but we would actually get assisted, and we wouldn't totally have to use county resources to do that. It would offset some of those costs. So I'm bringing it up to you if you think you might be interested in participating on that way to try to get those funds to try to assist with that. county management forest plan.
Somebody want to move that for discussion? Moved by Mr. Connell, second by Mr. Moore for discussion. Anybody have any questions? When Dave brought it up at Sawyer Water last Thursday, I think he should be commended for looking for more grant money, even though we found out we have a lot of money that was put aside in the 80s for forestry that came from the timber sales. But this is extra money where that money may be used for something else in the future, for the county. So, I think it's good. Does anybody have any questions on it? It's extra grant money coming in. If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution carries. Thank you. Dave, do you have anything else? Does anybody have any questions for Dave? Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
All right.
Anybody have anything else for the Department of Public Works? If not, we stand adjourned.